Hey everybody, Michael here. Welcome back. Finally got home, just played the video games. But if you guys haven't seen by now, the Venom reviews are all up and ready to go. But I wanted to do mine early tonight because since everyone's already putting their reviews out, I may as well put mine out. So I'm going to review Venom. Now, this film, I have waited a pretty decent amount of time for it. I would say between this and The Predator, I think I was looking forward to this movie more than The Predator. Now, if you guys haven't seen the reaction, everyone is saying that this film is bad. And bad. And there was a reason why I held off from talking about that in my video earlier that I made this morning. The reason is because, look, I saw the film, and before you guys start writing in the comments, you're lying, they didn't do this, listen, the theater I go to is literally, which I'm not going to give names out because I don't feel like giving names out anyway. Besides, that's not the point. The theater I go to literally has 2 screenings. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The 3 screenings. I saw yesterday's screening last night at midnight. I stayed up and watched it. Tonight they have a 7 o'clock, which is happening right now, and then they have another midnight, and tomorrow's the advanced screening again. So before you start ranting in the comments, just know this movie theater in particular was showing this screening at these separate times. So bear with me on this. But the reaction everyone's giving this movie is saying that it's a bad film, and I agree. It is bad, but not as bad as everyone's making it sound. Because everyone is comparing this film to Catwoman, to Affleck's Daredevil, and some are comparing it to Ang Lee's Hulk, which I also didn't think that was a bad film at all. I mean, not as bad as everyone else made it sound, but that's beside the point. The point is that this film is getting trashed by almost everybody, mostly critics, fans, and with Lady Gaga fans supposedly making fake reviews, which are just so fucking fake. Like, Gaga fans, I don't give a fuck if you dislike this video, just shut the fuck up, and this is 2 separate genres. That's whatever the fuck that is, and this is a superhero movie. So, go about your shit, and let us have ours. Moving on, I thought the movie, yes, it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as everyone was making it sound. As a matter of fact, it was bad, but I still came out of the theater with some enjoyment and feeling more entertained, and I felt more of what I wanted. I got my money's worth, personally. Even though I will explain the bad parts, and then I will talk about the good parts. So, I'm going to try to keep this spoiler-free, because the movie's not even out yet, so let's break it down, the plot. So the plot revolves around Carlton Drake, who, of the Life Foundation, sorry guys, my nose, he is trying to figure out a way to get humans to evolve, the next step in our evolution, because he claims this is the last generation, and we want to see how we can push the boundaries for humans to do many things. And his team comes across the symbiotes, with a few of them in particular that we've been hinting at the trailers. He basically comes into contact and starts using them to experiment, to host and bond, so they can start to form evolution. Meanwhile, Eddie Brock is also investigating on this, and he comes into contact with Venom, and from there the 2 pair up, and this is where the story starts to go. Then Carlton is also paired up with the symbiote, and when the symbiotes are formed, they each have a different purpose. I'm trying to keep this spoiler free. I'm trying right now. Venom hosts with Eddie, and Riot hosts with Carlton. Each one has a reason why they're bonding. I won't tell you why, because I feel as if I give away more, but the point is Venom wants to be with Eddie, and Riot has a reason that opposes what Venom wants, and it's up to Venom and Eddie to stop Riot and Carlton from making a plan to do something really bad. Yes, this is how I'm trying to keep it spoiler free. They're trying to make sure that whatever Carlton and Riot are planning together, since they are hosted, doesn't go through. So that's the general plot. Now let's start about the characters. Easily the best character in the movie, I think personally, by far, is Tom Hardy. Just 1 second. I have to blow my nose real fast, guys, because my cold is breaking up. Sorry about that. So, easily the best character in the film is Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy, it literally gives a solid performance. If you guys are going to sit here and say that he gives a worse performance, you're literally confusing yourself and you're making a big mistake. Tom Hardy plays excellent as Eddie Brock. He is solid in his performance, and honestly, has a great chemistry with the CGI Venom. Even though Venom is not an actual character, obviously, the chemistry between the two is awesome, between Eddie and Venom. And the symbiote itself, when you see it, it is amazing. Like, I gotta be honest, when I saw Venom in this movie, I was blown away at how awesome it looked. And that was the best part of the film, is seeing Venom and what he can do. When Venom's on screen, there's no doubt you're gonna have fun. Another positive that I liked about this film was the additional symbiotes that were teased. Now, I'm not going to give away as much, but when you see them, you will know for a fact this is going into the Lethal Protector's story arc, where Venom has to stop these symbiotes and stuff. But the point is, the other symbiotes all have their powers, and they all pose a threat to Venom, and it's up to him to stop them. And it's really, really cool about that. But beyond that, that's really all the positives. Now we gotta get into the negatives. The negatives is the rest of the cast. They're bland. There's no chemistry between Eddie Brock and his girlfriend. I forgot the actress's name, but there is no chemistry between the two. Even though she does come in there in the film, she's not really there, and you don't really feel a connection with them as much. Carlton Drake, Riz Ahmed, he was average. He's just a generic corporate idiot that wants to take over the world kind of guy, stereotype, and it was just bland. I feel like Eddie Brock or Tom Hardy was the only one that was allowed to go off on his character, since he knew what to do and everyone else had to follow in like a solid line, which was personally my problem. The next problem is the story. Even though you know that this film has no relation to Spider-Man, they tried really, really hard to get this film to have some type of way to get rid of the connection with Spider-Man. They tried really, really hard. And I think the problem with that is a character like that embedded with Spider-Man, you're not going to do it. And the story shows. It wasn't as interesting, but other than that, there are times when you can make out a few glimpses of the story, but there are some positives also. The action and the effects are, even though some look a little sketchy, the action scenes are very good. I'm not complaining there. And the post-credit scenes, if you haven't already heard about them, I'm not spoiling them, but trust me, one of them, if they make the sequel, will set up an even better movie. So let's see about that. But my main issue with this film is that Venom needs Spider-Man. Listen, I don't care what anyone says right now. Venom's roots are engraved with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the one that gave Venom the White Spider logo, gave Eddie Brock a reason to have an enemy, and made Venom a villain. Venom is a badass, and in this movie he shows it off. There are other problems like the PG-13 rating. It should have been a rated R film. The stuff that you see in this film is so tainted, and it doesn't even feel that it needs to be PG-13. If it had been rated R, maybe it would get a little more praise because it shows off a little more, but you could see it's trying to be like Deadpool or Wolverine or Logan, but it can't be that because it's at PG-13. And the difference is Logan had a better story, better action, and Deadpool was awesome. This movie was trying to be something else. And if they had gone and made it rated R, it would have been better. And another problem, and this is simple, this film, Marvel was not involved. If you see at the beginning of that movie, everybody laughed when they saw an association with Marvel. Get this idea out of your head. Marvel was not involved. It was all Sony's work. You can see it. And Sony, you've learned nothing. You have learned nothing. You have learned zero from making Spider-Man 3 to The Amazing Spider-Man to The Amazing Spider-Man 2 to signing a deal with Disney to give the character of Spider-Man into the MCU. We all thought, hey, you finally listened. And you made an awesome video game, Spider-Man PS4. You were going in the right track. But when you did Venom, no Spider-Man, a villain universe that needs Spider-Man, you fucked up big time. And this is the movie's downfall. Because You need that hero to stop Venom. Venom needs somebody to go up against. You can't put him up against just symbiotes. Spider-Man is the guy. This is the problem with the movie. It's not because of all this story. It's because it's so directed with Spider-Man that even with all these good performances by Tom Hardy, it doesn't save the movie. Half the time I sat there and I'm like, they really didn't know what to do. Because you look at the story and you look at how it's been interpreted, Spider-Man is supposed to be the guy going up against Venom, and Venom is supposed to be an anti-hero, yes, but without Spider-Man, what are you doing? So Sony, you've learned nothing. You've learned zero. And if you think that you can make a universe out of villains, if you think that this is going to work, look what happened with The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was a financial bomb and a failure. And unfortunately, even though I love Tom Hardy and I think that this portrayal of Venom is awesome, I hate to see this film fail. If they had just given a hint of Spider-Man, if Spider-Man had been mentioned or at least hinted at that he's somewhere here, then I could be like, okay, maybe we'll see him down the line. But the fact that he's not in this universe, there's no relationship, you want to have an anti-hero as universe, and the fact that you have this ludicrous idea that it's going to work, it's not going to work. Okay? And if this film bombs, this is on you. You wasted good talent, you wasted an awesome villain that could have had so much more. And I'm literally being honest, there is potential here, but it's gonna die if this film becomes a bomb. If this film doesn't do good at the box office, if this film doesn't generate enough, you can see it was all because of Sony's, they're literally greedy in vision to have a universe. So, with all that said, with everything I've poured out, what is my final thoughts on Venom? Well, yes, it was bad. Okay, it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as everyone is making it sound right now. People are giving it 1 out of 5. People are saying it's worse than Catwoman. It's worse than Elektra. It's worse than Ang Lee's Hulk. Listen, it is not. If anything, it may be similar, because it feels like that, a 15-year-old comic book movie, but it is not in no way, shape, or form worse than those movies. Not even worse than Hulk. Hulk, in my opinion, was actually okay. This movie, yes, it was bad, but it's not as bad as everyone's making it sound. I walked out of the theater saying, yeah, I kind of got some enjoyment out of it. There were moments I liked. I loved the scenes with Venom. I loved the action scene. I loved Tom Hardy's portrayal. And I loved the effects. But other than that, a lack story, a missed opportunity, and most of all, bland characters, it really didn't sell the film for me. So, I'm going to give Venom, and I'm being generous right now, I could give it a 1 star, but no. It's not a 1-star film. I'm going to give Venom 2.5 stars out of 5. Because you could go into this movie, you might find some enjoyment, but for the price you pay, it's really, I don't know. It's up to you. Look, I know everybody's excited to see this movie, and listen, if you are a fan of Venom, you're going to be satisfied. But don't go into this movie thinking it's going to be the best in the world. Have your expectations set to low. Because trust me, people walked into that movie and had high expectations and walked out saying, fuck this movie. So, that is all I have to say. So that is my review of Venom. Please let me know down below, what did you think of Venom? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Like, comment, subscribe, comment down below, what did you think of Venom? That's all I have to say. And once again, I really was looking forward to this movie. And again, I walked out of it more satisfied than I did with Predator, but that's not saying much. And my final review stands, 2.5 stars out of 5. So that's it. And peace.